General Shepard and the American military versus Captain Price and Soap McTavish. Well, isn't this interesting? A boss fight has been found in this long-running franchise. I knew it'd come around eventually. I'm not gonna bullshit you guys though, the gameplay in this fight is vestigial and does end up being a QTE boss fight, which is one of the barrel bottom ways you can design a combat sequence, but you take what you can get. It starts with Soap and Price getting into a rubber raft kitted with an outboard motor and go chasing after Shepard while dodging this, those guys, that thing, and all this random crap. And after avoiding all of it by doing absolutely nothing in usual COD fashion, you come to the very lip of a waterfall where Price gets a perfect shot on Shepard's helicopter and ends up taking it down in the desert. Unfortunately for your bumbling Irish ass, being too close to a waterfall turns out to spell you into watery disaster. You survive dazed and shakily, pull a combat knife to finish off General Shepard you knew had survived because of reasons, and he manages to fake you out and end up next to a broken down car. Now, you would think that you can take on Shepard since an explosion would daze worse than the fall you accomplished, but instead old man Shepard turns it around on you and you quickly end up with a knife in your torso and him monologuing while pulling a huge revolver. It seems like it's the end as he stalks the clip, but before he can pull the trigger, out of bloody nowhere comes Captain Price to knock the gun away and begin a fist fight. Soap ambles toward the gun, but Shepard once again ruins everything by kicking it into the sand. Fist fight continues and it leaves them at each other's throats while you get the brilliant idea to go out swinging, ripping the knife from yourself and throwing it into Shepard's brain. Price lives, saves you, and the three musketeers go off to begin plotting Modern Warfare 3 ostensibly. The fight does have limited gameplay, and overall it's barely a boss fight, and while the mechanics barely exist, the way that this is a climax to the narrative is great, since the antagonists ended up sprawling out from Makarov to Shepard with good characterization for both, and you were invested in this character's death because he was ambiguous and barely involved in the plot right up until the turn, making him a complete wild card when it turned it had him kill Sanderson, which was intensified in the rock-chewingly frustrating cleaning house mission, where you play Soap in the middle of a giant Makarov Shepard firefight, gets you to quickly hate him as every single ding-dang fighter has been trained to shoot you, and then his death was greatly satisfying, especially in the way you got to kill him with a final breath opportunity. General Shepard, an ambiguous man from start to finish. What a dick! Final game review of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Coming into Modern Warfare 2 after Modern Warfare DS, I was exactly in the right mood for a first-person shooter that actually feels like an FPS game. To have expectations about the game would be an overstatement, especially since I wouldn't have ever expected such an experience before in the series. Let's see what the plot has to show for itself. Starting out, we are told that Zakiev's movement had been picked up by an underling who turned out to be Makarov, so the war fought in Modern Warfare was ultimately a lost cause, as the head of the thing doesn't matter. The movement is what moves it forward. Our efforts are divided amongst Alan, the guys fighting early efforts to find Makarov, ending by impersonating Borodin in the No Russian mission and then being murdered to finish the plot, Ramirez, the guy embroiled in the aftermath of Alan's actions, and finally Sanderson, the British secret agent trying to draw out Makarov after his initial success and being murdered by Shepard for information on Makarov, along with a short mission where we play Soap again, finishing the job of Shepard. Overall, it does the Halo 2 plot continuation thing without doing the obvious cliffhanger, with just a little bit more continuity between our antagonists to make the thing completely rock solid. The gameplay is, well, I wouldn't say it was expanded upon, but it certainly was made a lot easier with the last 5 years bringing along a lot of weapon upgrades. All of the weapons can easily fire at a machine gun rate, and it seems that the general fall of health amongst the world extends to the fighters since getting headshots no longer matters. As long as you get several good shots on a person, they fall over instantly dead. Even you, the player, are not immune to the loss of health, and this is the thing that sometimes makes the game completely unplayably frustrating. The damn blood effects they put in. When you are properly bloodied in this game, it's not the usual red filter over the entire screen that we've seen in other iterations, but this time for some baffling reason, Infinity Ward thought it'd be a good idea to replace the filter with slathering jelly all over the player's face. hand, the biggest offender of being unplayable is in the last stride of the Russia invasion arc, where the combination of HD graphics, dark environment, and enemy numbers makes getting hit with the blood jelly screen equivalent to having a leg chopped off and being expected to run a 500-meter dash in under 30 seconds. It ends in a battle of attrition just to get in the freaking building. So it's a little more difficult, but the game does have its moments with its insane snowmobiling physics and locker room brawls, but the absolute funniest thing in the game has to be the NPC animation, since it doesn't sync up with the dialogue sometimes, and when the Black Commander at the beginning of the game starts yammering on about boring stuff, it looks like someone stuck a hand up his butt and turned him into a ventriloquist dummy.
Go down, you gotta aim down your sights. Aiming down your sights also works for switching quickly between targets. Aim down your sights, then pop in and out to acquire new targets. Show 'em, driver.
Funny stuff, but obviously that wasn't my favorite part of the game. You might think that it would have ended up being the no Russian scene offhand because that's the standout part, but honestly with the small issues that it had, it doesn't hold a candle to my actual favorite mission, which was the first American invasion mission where you have to defend a taco joint, McDonald's stand, and the sole proprietorship from an endless wave of Russian weirdos. Why, you ask? Well, honestly, it was the most immersed I'd been in the game up to that point, because just like all the other characters, no one saw the invasion coming, and especially coming so fucking quickly out of left field. And the locations are well researched to look essentially like the neighborhood just down your street, and it's in chaos. There's destruction all over the place, and the best thing that you can do is just hold out against the horde in a political disaster. No one thought that this was possible, and yet, here we are. The mission's on a great difficulty while small physics problems are annoying, and yet just like the post-nuclear death scene, it's rendered so well that it's easily immersible, and with all the different mechanics in play, it's an all-around fun time that encapsulates a scenario of being blitzkrieged from the sky at the manipulative hands of Makarov. So, Modern Warfare 2 stands as the Halo 2-esque iteration of its series, taking the story issues from Modern Warfare and expanding outwards to be better explain what happened as a result of Soap's efforts, along with those nameless douches from Modern Warfare DS, I guess, and get a more engaging plotline growing, which would explain the continuity issues of this game. Rather than just simply giving a slight upgrade in Modern Warfare 2, it instead overhauls the whole thing and makes general killing simpler with the advent of 5 years of progress in a finger snap, and if all I could find wrong with the games with the animation, continuity, and blood screen issues to nitpick, it just proves how much of a solid deal it is by itself, and props to Infinity Ward for finally giving me my first boss fight in this series, which was a good narrative-focused deal altogether. If I had to call it right now, definitely the high point of the franchise right here as of now, and let's just get the official stamp on that with this scoreboard. Next time we'll be looking at yet another bastion of N-Space's work with the follow-up Call of Duty Modern Warfare Mobilized, so hold on to your handhelds because we're going right back in the helicopter, but not before I yell out a victory for gamers over your headsets. Hooah!